Welcome to the NetSuite Authorize.net Integration User Walkthrough. This walkthrough video demonstrates 3 integrations. First, NetSuite Customer to Authorize.net Customer via Excelym.io. Second, NetSuite Payment to Authorize.net Transaction, which is a direct, point-to-point real-time integration via Excelym SuiteScripts. And lastly, Authorize.net Transaction Status to NetSuite Payment via Excelym.io. Note that the integrations covered in this walkthrough are not the only ones available. Other objects, transactions, or records may be integrated depending on the business need or upon request. Additional integrations, data transformations, and other customizations are also possible. We start with the registration of a customer account in the NetSuite e-commerce web store. We made a sample customer profile. We named the customer Jerby. We now have the customer registered in the NetSuite e-commerce web store. In the web store, any created customer profile becomes a lead in NetSuite. We will then have to convert lead into a NetSuite customer to allow us to set up a payment profile and process transactions for this particular customer. To do this, we basically just have to change the lead status to a customer or closed one. We now have our NetSuite customer record for Jerby Royce. At this point, we've already done the difficult part of setting up the integration between NetSuite and Authorize.net. So for any customer record created in NetSuite, a customer record also appears in Authorize.net. We'll give you a tour around how the integration is managed in the Excelym.io platform. When logging into your Excelym.io instance, the dashboard is always displayed first to serve as your homepage, which mainly consists of integration task summary, statistics, and graph. Here, we are checking the properties of the integration through the integration module. The data source displays NetSuite Customer to Authorize.net Customer. If users want to control what specific data object properties or fields are being integrated, they need to go to the field mapping window. From here, users can see what goes from the source record and where the integrated data is saved in the destination system. Users can also modify the integration fields and apply data validation rules. Let's examine the rules. Default data value. This rule helps if you want, let's say, to automatically reflect a standard or default data value of a data object property, a billing city, for example, in System 2 when the same object property is left black or with no value in System 1. The data source. Data type, whether it's entity ID, primary ID, text, value, or secondary ID. Users even have the option to set the maximum number of characters in each field of the data sources. Update is the integration flag or switch within each data object's properties. If checked, the field will be changed upon record update, or, if unchecked, the field will remain unchanged upon record update. Mandatory. If this checkbox is ticked, it will be mandatory for a data object field in System 1 to have a data value. Otherwise, the integration will error out or fail. Allow null. This function will set the value on the destination system to null if the field is empty from the source system. There is also the job queue module, which shows the summary of integration tasks running. Message queues. Users can view the log records that went through Excelym.io or the data extracted or transformed through the message queues window. That's a quick review of the integration configurations of the Excelym.io platform. Now, we head on to NetSuite. NetSuite Customer. After successful integration, Authorize.net profile ID is populated. We are now looking at a newly created customer record in NetSuite. As you can see, the Manage Authorize.net profile option is now available, which means that you can now add a payment method for Jerby, our sample customer. The Authorize.net profile ID for Jerby is also reflected as an external ID of the customer record in NetSuite. Let's head on to Authorize.net to check and verify that our created NetSuite record or profile exists. So I'll just log into my Authorize.net account here. Under Tools, just click on Customer Information Manager. The list shows the most recently created profile, and now we are able to verify Jerby's record in Authorize.net. Over here, you can see this customer profile information, the details we entered in NetSuite when we created the record. After we have initiated the customer record integration, I will now showcase how to manage a payment profile in the NetSuite e-commerce web store. We head on to our NetSuite e-commerce page. Under the My Account tab, click Payment Profiles. You will be redirected to the Authorize.net customer portal, which shows the customer's payment information. Since we just created the customer record, there's obviously no entered payment information. Let's enter a credit card information for Jerby by clicking on Add a new payment method. Just click on Continue so the changes on the payment profile page will be saved. Over here, the newly added payment information for Jerby's customer profile in Authorize.net is already visible. After checking that the payment information is already reflected in both NetSuite and Authorize.net, let's now demonstrate how to create a payment transaction. Just go to the NetSuite e-commerce web store and under My Account, click Make a Payment. Enter the required information. Add your payment amount and select the invoice or invoices to be paid. Under the Enter Credit Card Information, click on the drop-down menu of Payment Method and select Authorize.net as your method of payment. Then we also need to update the applicable payment profile for this customer. To do that, just click the button with arrows pointed right to choose the payment profile set up for this customer. To save these changes, click the Submit button below. We can now see that the payment has been processed. Here is a quick preview of the newly created payment transaction. Let's now also verify the transaction from Authorize.net side. To do this, just click on Transaction Search. Then click Unsettled Transactions to view the list of unsettled transactions. Click on the transaction ID to see the transaction detail. Now let's demonstrate how to integrate Authorize.net transaction status to NetSuite Payment. This allows us to update the payment status in NetSuite with the payment transaction status in Authorize.net, whether it's settled, unsettled, or voided. We'll first show the current transaction status in Authorize.net for our sample customer Jerby. Right now, the status is captured or pending settlement. To show that the integrations worked, the same status should be reflected in the NetSuite payment record. Take note this integration is run by a scheduler which depends on the defined frequency as set up in Excelym.io. However, for the sake of this integration demo, we will manually execute the integration task. To do that, we have to go to the Integration tab. Over here, users can view the list of available integrations. Just pay attention to the last entry, which is the NetSuite payment status to Authorize.net payment status. After manually executing the integration, you will automatically be redirected to the job queue. This window shows the list of integration tasks and their corresponding statuses, whether it is pending, processing, completed, and failed. You can also check with the message queue window to see all the records that have been integrated by Excelym.io. This works like a history log of all integrations. You can filter it by task, source or target ID, status, or by date. As you see, the integration status is marked as completed, which means the integration has been completed. To check if the integration actually worked, just go to your payment transaction record. You can see that the memo shows the capture reader pending settlement is pulled from Authorize.net. To wrap up this user walkthrough video, the detailed walkthrough demonstrates the effectiveness and ease of integrating NetSuite with Authorize.net using Excelym.io. This integration not only streamlines the process of managing payment profiles and transactions, but also provides a seamless, real-time updating of transaction statuses across both platforms. The transaction history log provided by Excelym.io ensures traceability and accountability for all transactions. This integration brings us one step closer to achieving complete automation, leading to greater efficiency, reduced errors, and improved customer satisfaction.